Hello, hey, what's up you guys? It's Tina back again with another video. In today's video, I plan to make a part 2 to the video that I posted on my Instagram. Trigger warning, that video was about sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual abuse. If you are not mentally or emotionally available, stable, secure to watch that kind of content, then you can click out right now, but that is what I'm going to be addressing in this video today. It's really weird to talk about this topic again because this is something that I already processed. I want to say it's been about a month since everything happened. I already went through and dealt with my feelings about the situation, feeling kind of weird to tap back. It feels like all of my life I've had to deal with a lot of sexual trauma. Even if I've dealt with it before, it's never any easier, you know? Like, it still hurts the same. It still sucks the same. I went through this whole year of just intense and intentional healing. When you're going through this process and you're intentionally trying to heal, you just assume, yeah, I love myself. Yeah, I know myself. Yeah, I talk to myself all the time. Until those characteristics actually get tested, you don't really realize the truth of how you speak to yourself. After the whole situation happened, I tried to make a video talking about the events that followed when I confronted my assaulter. I made a video about that and I ended up deleting it today because there was nothing worth saving from that video. Maybe that's something that you guys wanted to see, but it's not something that I wanted to see. When I was looking at myself, talk through everything in the video, I realized just how many lies that I was telling myself. And I realized how toxic my positivity was. And I realized how hard I was trying to put up a front and act like I knew what the fuck was going on when I didn't. I was trying to rush and make my heart speak before it was ready. And I was trying to make my mind discover solutions before it was ready. There was no time to process anything that I was going through, but I just wanted to get through it. I was in a really dark place. I didn't want to admit to myself that I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't want to admit to myself that I felt hopeless. I didn't want to admit myself that I didn't feel happy. I silenced those so-called negative, right, parts of me. So then I could return back to this happy state. But I didn't realize that when a situation like this happens to you, you can't really go back. You can't really return to anything, you know, because returning back to whatever I was doing before means that the situation didn't happen, when that's not true. The situation happened and it was real. And even though I told myself in the video the first time that I made it, I didn't even believe it. I just knew that I had an arsenal of positive mantras to spit out, and I just kept repeating that to myself over and over and over and over again, even if my heart didn't feel it, my heart didn't understand it. And I don't know why I was trying to force it onto my heart to feel happy when it is hurt. And I was trying to deny my heart anything that it was feeling. The truth of the situation was, it's not even just sexual assault. I just said that to try to make myself feel better, but I didn't want to admit that I got raped. I wanted to say that I got sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, so then I feel better about the situation. Like, no, that didn't happen. No, I didn't put myself in there. I was already feeling enough guilt. I was already feeling enough shame. I was already embarrassed enough. I felt so weak. My thoughts kept getting worse, and like no matter what, it felt like I was stuck and I was hopeless and I couldn't get out of it. And I know that on the outside, I still do this to everybody. I still do this. I still act like I'm this strong, independent woman because I am. I am. But in that moment, I needed to be just whatever the fuck that I was feeling. There's a couple things that I need to say, that I need to remind myself whenever I get into that mindset. First and foremost, I am not my emotions. I'm not my body. I'm not my mind. And no matter what I see around me, no matter what I feel, no matter what I think, I am only an observer. There could be a hurricane of emotions around me and everything could look like a mess, but I am simply observing it. I am the eye of the hurricane. I am connected to my feelings and my thoughts and my emotions, but I am not attached, and they do not define who I am. Letting myself feel everything that I need to feel is just a part of the process to healing. Even if I say all of these nasty, degrading things to myself, it doesn't make it true. I am not weak because of what I went through. The situation does not define who I am. Another thing I had to tell myself, I did all of the right things, and I did everything that I was supposed to do. I stated my boundaries. I said what I wanted. I upheld my standards. It was not my fault that he couldn't understand what I was saying, that he did not want to listen, that he forced himself upon me. Going back to the toxic positivity. Evil does exist in this world, and people do misuse and abuse their free will. I can be honest all that I want. I can be vulnerable all that I want. And the other person does not have to reciprocate the same thing. And just because I expect the best out of myself doesn't mean that everyone else expects the best out of themselves as well. I was telling myself that the person that I was before isn't the person that I am now. I am different, and I have healed, and I deserve to be happy. From the situation, I learned a different definition of acceptance that I never really got to experience before, or I never understood the benefits of acceptance ever. My relationship with control was my longest long-term relationship that I've ever had. I don't know if that's how you say it. I feel like I never broke up with control, and those were one of the toxic relationships that I've held on to my life, and it was something that I didn't need anymore. So I redefined acceptance as not giving up, because that's what I thought acceptance was. I thought acceptance was me being weak. I thought acceptance was me letting things happen to me, even if they were wrong. But I learned that true acceptance is acknowledging that I have no control over the situation, and I can't control a lot of the things that happens, but I can control the way that I perceive the things that happens. And since then, I've repeatedly told myself that every day, to remind myself to stay in the present. Another thing that I realized was that the way that I talk to myself is very shitty, and it's very unfair, and it's out of balance. Because even after the whole situation happened, even if I think that I did all this healing, I am still uncomfortable with getting vulnerable and feeling everything that I'm feeling, and allowing my heart to speak, and allowing my body to tell me what is going on. I've realized how much I didn't love myself. I realized how conditional my relationship with myself was, where if everything was going good, then I would tell myself good things. But I'm never there for myself when I'm in my mess, when I'm sad, when I'm hurt, when I'm angry, when I'm frustrated. I numb my feelings and I ignore them and I push them away. And I had to take accountability that I was being a shitty friend to myself. This kind of self-talk was seen as encouragement in my past life, where I felt like I could say, you should have done this. Next time, do this. You can do better. And there's always this scale of perfection that I was trying to follow, which was so unrealistic. And I had to tell myself that my definition of perfection is unrealistic and it is toxic and it doesn't help. And I can say all these things like, yeah, you could have done this, but why would that make me feel better? Why would that actually push me to do more? My emotions are more intelligent now. They need more from me now. And I can't ignore everything just because I don't like it. But either ways, in the end of it, it could have been so much worse. I didn't have to stick up for myself. I didn't have to leave. I chose to respect and uphold the standards that I have set for myself. And yes, I let a lot of things go. And yes, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But that doesn't make me weak. That makes me a genuine person. And I'm not turning to hate to be okay. I was the one that was vulnerable enough to be in that situation. And I was also the one that was courageous enough to get out of it. And if there's that voice inside of your head that is trying to victim blame, that is trying to shame you and guilt you into making you feel like you are less than what you are, you're fine. You're perfect. And you are strong. And you're here now. And if anyone else is trying to make you feel that way as well, then they have obviously never been where you were. They have never been in a situation like that if they're able to talk to you in that way. If they are able to defend the offender in any kind of way, to defend an assaulter in any kind of way, to defend the rapist in any kind of way, their perception of reality is not like yours. They have obviously never been through, have never been put in a situation where you have been. Regardless of what they say, you're allowed to be soft. You're allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to give to another person. You are allowed to look towards love. Don't feel like you have to change the way that you've been living just because somebody else comes in and misuses their free will. And then does this kind of bullshit. Bro, that is not my responsibility. Fuck. Who do you think I am? Why would I ever stay where somebody else forced me? Fuck no. I'm not gonna stop living my life just because some other bitch doesn't know how to deal with himself, doesn't have self-control, doesn't know how to deal with rejection. No matter what, nothing is ever worth me losing myself. So even if this world doesn't make sense, and even if everything that happened was unfair, I don't give a shit, because I am not losing myself ever again. I'm not dimming my light for anybody. I'm not being small to make anybody comfortable. Fuck that shit. My whole life, it felt like I had to fight against the standards and the definitions and the overgeneralizations that have been placed on me before I even got to say who I really am. Before I even got to introduce my name, you already have a perception, an assumption of who I am. You see a short, little, tight Asian girl, sorry, and you think that she is pure and that she is polite and that she'll do whatever the fuck that you want her to do. No. No, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. Why would anyone ever fucking subscribe to that? Why am I not allowed to be assertive? Why am I not allowed to be loud? And I'm sorry for that Tina that ever thought that you only could choose one. I'm so sorry that I put so many rules on you. And I'm so sorry that I forced you to believe it. And I'm so sorry that I kept you in a box and I never let you expand to all the corners of the cosmos and allow you to be whoever the fuck you wanted to be. I'm sorry that I never allowed the infinite universe within you to expand. I'm sorry that I allowed other people's opinions and impressions to hold you back from just being you. I'm sorry that I only allowed you to follow trends. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I made you hyper-focused on trying to be popular and trying to be funny and trying to be likable. I'm sorry that I never asked you first, do you like you? And on the same coin, I forgive you. And I understand. And I'm sorry that I blamed everything on my ego. And I'm sorry that I blamed everything on society when it ultimately was me. And I was just reflecting the society that I saw. This will make sense to the people that it's supposed to make sense to. And if it doesn't make sense, then it will. In some really fucked up way, this situation just made me feel stronger. And I became empowered. And this situation made me realize how much I love myself. And how much I believe in myself. I could stay mad. And I could stay angry. And I could stay frustrated at how unfair this world is. Or I can fight against the system that I was forced in. I could be the person that I was supposed to be. And I can inspire, educate, and empower other people to be their authentic selves as well. It seems so much better to turn to love instead of hate. I never felt like I could ever share my stories with my history of sexual trauma because, like, you think after all these situations happened and you experience so much sexual fucking assault that you're not allowed to be happy. And then somehow, some way, after I intentionally healed, I find myself being happy. And then that took a long time for me to accept that I was. I'm done being depressed with my past. I'm done being anxious about the future. I'm done surviving. And I'm ready to fucking live. And I'm done with feeling guilty for being happy. And I'm just gonna let myself fucking be. I reject the story that happiness can only be attained by hard work and by sacrifices and by suffering. Happiness can only be intentionally chosen. And I choose to live a happy life. Sounds weird to say. Sounds weird to believe. Just watch. Alright. That is it. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great time living. Choose love. Choose light. Choose happiness. Choose growth. Choose yourself. Alright. Love you guys. Bye bye bye.